Welcome to What's Up, Bolts. I'm Fernando.
Brow, screw the introductions. It's time. Shout out. Finally, we knew it was going to happen. Finally, it is done. I can stop sweating. I feel like Michael Scott right now when he's coming back, finding out Holly wasn't engaged. The happy box, Brow. Shout out to Son of Odin. God of Lightning has inked his name on a piece of paper till 20. Oh yeah, here it is. Shout out. You were clutch. Look at that. Exactly. That's the whole fan base right now.
Whoa. Okay, calm
Take
down.
it easy.
All right. So obviously that's an exciting day.
Shout out.
Dan and Daygo mentioned a break. Well, not breaking news, but obviously it was breaking news on Tuesday. Chargers and Justin Herbert agreed to a 5-year, $262.5 million deal. That is a huge deal, especially because that keeps Justin Herbert around for the next 7 years under contract with the Chargers. So that is a lot of money. That now makes Justin Herbert the highest paid player in the NFL at $52.5 million. Out of that $262.5 million, $218.7 is guaranteed. So that is a huge amount from Justin Herbert. The Chargers, I mean, I know, and I've been saying this on radio stations. I've been saying it on shows. People said Dean Spanos and the Chargers are cheap. No, they're not. They've been really shelling out the money the last couple of years. I mean, they had before. Tom Telesco negotiated Phillip Rivers' contract to make him the second highest paid quarterback back in 2000.
The 84.
14 or 15 season.
The 84 million.
Was like, I went and I picked up a pizza. Oh, what'd you have? He's like, something in jalapeno.
There's no freaking way he picked up a single pizza with those 11 kids or
10 kids, by the way.
Shout out
to Philip and Tiffany. But Herbert now is the court. He's now gonna be here for
he's the guy.
The foreseeable future. He's been the guy, but now this really solidifies him as the face of the franchise, the guy that leads this team, the guy that the players love, the fans love him. And just for context, if fans are like, oh well, how much do the fans love him? I have a video right here of after practice Justin Herbert. Well, let me just show you this. I can only say so much. Watch this video right here.
Dude's an absolute stud of a human being, honestly. Absolute stud. And you know what, Fran? I think, and we've talked about this a few times. Yeah. Just the humility Justin Herbert has at training camp. I'm not going to talk about the past, but you've heard me say before about a certain person. Last one to show up on the field, first one to get off the field. Justin Herbert, I feel like with my own eyes, not having to rely on other people. The times I've been at the training camps, he will always sign either at the end of practice right away, or he'll throw for a little bit, wait till it clears out a little bit, and then he'll come sign. Just the fact today that he had so much humility to go from one end of the fence all the way down to the other to where their media is. Honestly, I hope he never loses that. Just everything you would want in a franchise player. Because sometimes I think, people take for granted the fans in the sense that you have, in my mind, you would want to build that bond and make yourself very entrenched with the fan base and everything else. Because if there would even be thoughts about you leaving and things like that, of course, that's going to stir up the fan base. So it's just a little more security for him also. And just honestly, just such a great human being. Just taking the time to do that, you know what I mean? How many NFL players don't just after practice, as soon as it's done, just get on the bus and dip? It's just stud of a human being. His parents did a great job. Shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Herbert. You made an amazing son, and we appreciate you guys.
Well, one of their other sons is about to become a doctor, so another amazing kid.
He doesn't play for the. Shout out to him, but he doesn't play for the
I don't know what their youngest is gonna do. I know he played at Oregon, but I know definitely
being undrafted or fourth, fifth, whatever.
Yeah, I know, but definitely a shout out to Justin for that. And honestly, if you look at it, and that's what I was gonna say, the fan base loves them. Like literally, the fence was getting knocked over. and Justin was like helping the security hold it up, which I would have been like, whoa, 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 whoa! They just paid you all this money. What do you do? But that's just how Justin is. Some guy, I'm telling you, some guy's like, oh, sign my baby. Some other guy was like, oh, date my daughter, and like you just hear the funniest thing during that. And I just got such a kick out of it. I'm like, wow. They really love the fan base really loves Herbert. As soon as he walked in, though, they were chanting Herbert, Herbert, and everybody is so excited about the potential of this team. Now, obviously, Justin Herbert has signed up, and he said the distractions are now over. I can focus on football. He also had something else to say here. Let's go and hear what Herbert had to say about signing his contract.
First off, I'm so thankful to the Chargers organization, the Spanos family, Tom Telesco for believing in me 3 years ago, and Ed McGuire, Katie Sylvan. Words aren't enough to express how thankful and how glad I am to be a part of this organization. And I had complete faith in them from the get-go. And, I've never wanted to be anywhere else. This is where I've wanted to be for as long as I've been born and playing football. So it's a dream come true. And, just really excited to be back out there with the team today.
And the Chargers put up a hype video yesterday kind of showcasing him. And I remember before he got drafted, there was pictures of Herbert in a Chargers jersey. When he was a kid, he put, "Where do you want to live? Los Angeles. What do you want to do? Play for the Chargers." He must have had a
Nostradamus over
here. I wonder if Herbert is a time traveler or something, and like he knew exactly what was going to happen.
That's why he's so high IQ, dude.
Exactly, but
if he's a time traveler, let me know when the hell we're finally going to get a trophy, dude. I can't stand this waiting anymore.
Now. And that's the thing. That's what Tom Telesco and the team have been talking, or that's what Tom Telesco has been talking about. You can pay a quarter. Everybody was like, "Oh, you have to sign him up, or before you sign him, you have a window." Tom Telesco said no, and he's been there before. He's seen it done before. The Colts a couple of years ago, in 2004 or 5, they signed Peyton Manning to a record extension, and the Colts went on to win a Super Bowl 2 years later. So they had Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, Bob Sanders. They had a lot of good players. Jeff Saturday. Players. The thing is, Dan, and you know this, and we've seen it last year, guys, the Chiefs had weaknesses. Like they had weaknesses, but can you mask those weaknesses to get over the hump? That's the huge question with the Chargers. The Chargers every team has a weakness. It's just, can you put that to the side, and can you make it to the promised land?
Can you make the proper adjustments? Yeah,
exactly. That's going to be interesting about this team. But for Justin Herbert, that's a huge contract extension.
I'm just glad to pay him before Burrow. Honestly, that would have been.
Well, that was actually pretty funny. But Dan, I told you I had a surprise before we logged on, and here's your surprise. I hope you're ready for this.
Let me bring my blind eyes in here.
Let's get here we go. Hold on.
Oh my!
I think it's first off, congrats to him, and congrats to Jalen as well earlier on his contract. I think it's really good for the quarterback market. That's what I would say.
Yeah, of course.
It gets me excited, gets me going.
Yeah.
At the same time, they got what they deserve, and I'm happy for them.
That was Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa getting asked about Justin Herbert's contract extension. That could have been Dan's quarterback, but the Miami Dolphins decided to take him.
I knew from the beginning. I don't know diddly squat about the draft, but there was something about him that always
and that's why, and we're not going to get too much into it because this obviously isn't a Dolphins podcast. Yeah. But this is a huge year for Tua. Tua really, they got his 5th-year option. But if this year he doesn't perform, they're not going to want to pay him, and they could be looking into the draft. Yeah. And we know how aggressive they are. They traded for Bradley Chubb. They traded for Jalen Ramsey. They've made moves. They could end up being in the market and we all know there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out this upcoming season. Yeah. But back to Herbert, it just shows how much faith the organization has in him. After practice, he was the one that broke the team down. And then I think 2 coaches ran up and grabbed they grabbed the Gatorade and they dumped it over him, and everybody was saying congratulations and everything. And the funniest part is, guys, is that Keenan Allen yesterday or on Tuesday was asked by the social media team, "Oh, what do you have to say to Herbert?" He's like, "Big money, man. We love you, Herb. You're gonna have to pay. Where are we going for dinner?" And then Herbert today said that he wants to think that he's gonna have to buy a couple of dinners because
take him out to Raising Cane's.
Yeah, no, for real. But or the Subway. Remember, he has that commercial with Patrick.
Yeah, with the Subway.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Herbert knows that without his team, and he said it before, without my teammates, I wouldn't be where I'm at. He said it before, without Egg doing what he does, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Without the offensive line blocking for me, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Without Mike and Keenan and Josh and all those guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And so the humility that he has, but he's just a team first guy, and he said, we're ready to roll now. The distractions are over. No more contract talk. And this is honestly the first offseason where the Chargers really don't have anything kind of hanging over them. Like 19, it was the Melvin Gordon holdout. 2020, Melvin Ingram for a little bit was holding out. 2021, I can't remember 2021. 2022 last year was Derwin, but Derwin was like he was at practice, but he was just a hold in. I can't remember. I think 2021 they might have not had anything, but still, this year you get that out of the way. There's no distractions, and now they can focus on football, which obviously excites Dan and Daygo.
Obviously, because I'm all about that action, boss. But just real quick, going back to the Herbert on the last thing I kind of wanted to say, it honestly, we're huge soccer guys. It reminds me of those guys who grow up. Like, I can't remember if it was Jamie Carragher or who, famous Liverpool player. I can't remember if it was him or not. They once asked him. He grew up watching Liverpool, finally got to play for Liverpool. He loved the club. He said, I think one time they asked him, they're like, why did you never leave the club and go to a certain bigger club and get paid more money? He said, if I got over there and won 20 trophies and won one trophy at Liverpool, the one trophy at Liverpool would mean more to me than the 20 over there. So just the love of the badge, like we talk about in soccer all the time, the love of the team, the organization, it's like you could tell he has that. 'Cause I mean, I'm sure growing up watching, Rivers all those years and everything else, he might have been too young for Breeze, but watching them all those years and finally, I guess, being the guy of the organization you grew up watching, it is probably inconceivable the emotions you must be feeling and everything else. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
No, and I completely agree. And I mean, that these guys are obviously excited. They know what is coming, but they know they have the faith that he could be the quarterback that leads them to something that nobody but Stan Humphries was able to do, lead them to a Super Bowl. But they think Herbert can lead them to a Super Bowl victory. When you have a guy like Justin Herbert, I mean, that's the only thing that you need, honestly. You don't need any – you need players, but I'm saying you have the quarterback. That's the most important tool, I believe, is having Justin Herbert. So now, obviously, moving forward, it's all about what are you going to do next? How do you go from here? The Chargers have a team. They have good players. It's just, can you put it together? Can you make that difference? And can you get over some of your weaknesses? Dan, one of their weaknesses is not being able to stop the run. And they haven't in Brandon Staley's tenure. And that's something you can't overcome. There's no way you're going to be able to overcome not being able to stop the run. You're going to need to stop the run. And I'm not saying stop it completely to where you're only allowing 60 yards per game the way Tampa Bay did a couple of years ago when they won the Super Bowl. I'm saying, can you at least limit it? I mean, heck, last year they were at one point, I think they were giving up 120, 130 yards.
Maybe more, yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, and then don't forget, what cost them in Brandon Staley's first year was a broken play to the outside by Josh Jacobs, setting him up in field goal range. They couldn't even take it. Well, I don't remember if they did go to overtime, but it was to steal the game in overtime. So and that's essentially what's happened.
That's why, and I'm so surprised. I thought Brandon was going to go for 2 when they went to Mike Williams in that end zone. I thought their secondary is hurt. Why wouldn't you just go for 2, end the game here, and go to the playoffs? Because they would have played Cincinnati. They had already beaten Cincinnati once. They had blown out almost Cincinnati at one point. You might have been able to go upset Cincinnati again, but I mean, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
But that's the whole thing. That's what it's been, though. It's like I took flack last year because I said this defense isn't perfect. No one expected it to be, this, the 13 Seahawks or whenever the hell they won the Super Bowl and they were dominant.
Yeah.
No one expected it to be that. But I was saying the whole time they were coming up with stops when they needed to. Was it pretty? No. But I mean, they were doing what they needed to in certain times. And I thought last year it was the offense's fault why sometimes they couldn't get out of these games because they couldn't sustain drives. They couldn't, get the ball where they needed to. They couldn't find a rhythm. And of course, scoring was a huge problem in the second half last year. But you're right, though. What you need to fix 100% is the run game. And I think Brandon, at least in my mind, and Tom maybe talked about it, because I think you put Drew Tranquil next to Eric Kendricks, completely different body types. And we talked about this, I think, when they signed him. And it's like, you getting a bigger linebacker, in my mind, it's to take on guards. I'm sorry. I'm a physicality type of guy. I love the run game. So in my mind, you doing that, he wants to take on some guards. So that's going to be an interesting difference from last year to this year.
See, Dan, the thing about this show is that we're different. We have things that nobody else has.
This program.
I have video of Justin Herbert negotiating his contract with the Chargers. Are you ready for this?
God, this is gonna be good.
I love black people. Who's your motherfucker, Jerry? You, my motherfucker!
One of the most iconic scenes, Jerry Maguire.
Oh, I know.
I'm surprised, honestly, he didn't show up in was it Jalen Ramsey who showed up in the Brinks truck?
In the Brinks truck, he did. Yeah, he did.
That would have been wild.
Yeah, he showed up in the Brinks truck. It's funny because obviously we had Uncle Joe on. When did we had him on at the Super Bowl?
Radio Row,
and Uncle Joe's like, if I was Justin Herbert, I'd have Rihanna show "Bitch Better Have My Money." So today, Uncle Joe and I were laughing and we're like, "Oh, hey, like." I'm surprised Justin didn't show up in a Brinks truck. He's like, yeah, with Brianna singing "Bitch Better Have My Money." Definitely, just greatness overall from Uncle Joe.
Always. He's A1.
But yeah, so I mean, we'll move on right now and give you guys some of our takes from the first day of training camp. Dan and I were both there. But I do have a video of what Justin Herbert did. And that's what I'm telling you on this program. We have things that nobody else does. Justin Herbert went out the night before training camp, and I have video of it. Here we go.
You want to? No, but I believe my friends are. Perhaps you know them. Franklin, Grant, and Jackson.
See, I mean, where are you going to get content like this?
That has to arguably be Jim Carrey's best movie. No, maybe The Grinch. But the
Jim Carrey has a lot of really good movies.
But I would put that one up there. Like The Mask to me is like peak. It's not only one of the probably most referenced GIFs, it's one of the like funniest movies you've ever seen. And yeah, I love that movie. I love The Mask, dude. The smoking.
Yeah, no, I definitely I thought that would be a great couple of scenes. I mean, what are we gonna do? We're gonna have fun, but so both Dan and I were there today for the first day of training camp, and Dan texted me almost right away during 7-on-7. And Dan, what's the name that you texted me?
You know what? I was wondering about this too because of all the long road to recovery and everything else from last season. J.C. Jackson, in my mind, I was always looking for him because I didn't even know if he was gonna. I didn't even know if he was gonna step on the field. I thought he might be working on the side with some of those other guys. And you got it? You gonna show it?
Yeah.
There you go. Show it. And basically, J.C. Jackson had maybe 3 reps in 7-on-7. All 3, it looked like he was the wide receiver on Keenan. I was honestly so, surprised because what's funny? At first, I was watching him run a drill, and I thought he was limping or he wasn't running right. There was something that was off to me. Then he gets in 7-on-7, and it was like night and day, dude. Like the guy was right on Keenan's hips both times. He was moving around. Like it looked like he was running well. The one time he did get burned was by Quentin Johnston running a fade route. He was going, dude. He was zooming. Got past him, and for whatever reason they didn't hit him. But JC Jackson to me was the takeaway from training camp, besides obviously the son of Odin's contract. It's good to see him running around. It's good to see him locking people down, because obviously he was let's be honest, guys getting paid a fair amount, didn't have a good start last year, then he gets hurt the rest of the year. So hopefully, he's going to bounce back and have a great season and prove that he's worth the contract and everything else.
Yeah, so obviously for the people not watching, Herbert threw a pass to Keenan. Keenan routinely comes down with it, but JC Jackson didn't go for
it out.
He went for the ball instead of going for the player. He went for the ball and was able to knock it down. So, but yeah, this is what Brandon Staley, I'm just going to say it to you guys. Usually we have it in video form, but this is what Brandon Staley had to say. You saw him out there. I think that says so much about him. And Mark Zacconi and head athletic trainer Sal Lopez, our training staff, that group of people, director of sports performance Anthony Lamondo, and head strength and conditioning Jonathan Brooks. It took a village to bring this guy back. For him to go out there today and compete, it says so much about JC and our team. There's a long way to go, but for him to be out there practicing, going full speed, we have to ramp him up. Just because he's cleared to be out there, that doesn't mean that he's cleared to play a full game. We have to make sure that we ramp him up the right way. He played well today. So that's the thing. They're going to slowly bring this guy back. And the thing is, this is what's key for JC Jackson. Remember last year, he did, and I mean, Dan and I weren't there, but I remember I read everything. I read all the good reports that Jeff Miller, Joe Reedy, Daniel Popper, that they all had. And I remember they said that JC did start at the beginning and he got hurt. He missed I think the final 2 weeks. And JC said, that's really what hurt me, missing that time. So the Chargers are going to be smart with him and they're going to bring him up slowly. But look, he right now, he dipped his little big toe into the water. He's not ready to jump yet, but at least he's dipping his toe and kind of getting his feet wet a little bit. And that's what they need. I know he didn't do 11 on 11, but also it's just going to help him. And it's going to help the other guys. Remember, they have a pretty crowded secondary. They have Michael Davis. They have Asante Samuel Jr., Jazir Taylor. And that competition is going to be interesting. Asante Samuel Jr., Jazir Taylor. That's they're going to be competing for both an outside slot if JC Jackson's not ready or for the inside. Because Brandon Staley said today, Asante can play. I mean, both of them can play, but Asante is so versatile that he can play almost anywhere, and they can take advantage. The Chargers want to take advantage of what Asante did last year with the 3 interceptions and everything that he did for in Jacksonville. But obviously, you want to take advantage of the situation. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of how the secondary goes. But Dan, the one person that the one guy that I saw that I'm like, holy smokes, is wide receiver Quentin Johnson. And I know you're in shorts. You're not you're not trying to hype it up, but you're just seeing what you see and you're kind of going with your situation. Man, the separation that this guy gets as soon as he comes off the line. Like I think Asante in one of those was up on him man to man, and he was up on him. He tries to grab him as soon as this ball snapped, and he just is able to evade him, and he turned on the acceleration. Alohi Gilman wouldn't have been able to get there if Justin would have. I think Justin didn't go his way, but if Justin goes his way, Quentin Johnson would have walked into the end zone. But definitely the other thing that I remember, and this is obviously speaking of JC Jackson. This is what Derwin James had to say about JC being back out there for the team.
It felt good. He even made a play against Keenan today. Just getting that confidence back out there. For him to be out here day one, that speaks a lot how hard he's been working, in the off season trying to get back out here. And I just told him to take it day by day. He gonna make plays.
And that's what the defense needs. Remember, and JC told us this when we talked to him a couple of weeks ago. I want to represent what my nickname is, Mr. INT. Yeah. So obviously he wants to show that he is Mr. Interception. He is the guy, and this is the way to show it. This is the way to go. So right now, he's starting off It's all about, can he stay healthy? Can he continue during the whole preseason to keep on going and play and consistently be there? They don't need him to play in, well, they may have ask if he's healthy, they may ask him to play in one preseason game just to kind of get him going a little bit.
Get up to speed.
But really, you need him to be ready for the season. And obviously, you need him to be ready to play in this scheme. Last year, he just didn't. I think he was never completely right, but he needs to be able to fit this team and be the guy that the Chargers are hoping he can be, the game changer that they hope he can be, the guy that I think had 26 interceptions in his first 4 or 5 years. They're hoping he can be that guy and be that shutdown corner that they paid for, because if JC Jackson plays, then that just adds a whole nother dimension to the secondary, because then you have so many interchangeable guys. You have Michael Davis, you have him, you have Josier Taylor, you have Asante Samuel Jr. Maybe another guy could sneak in there. I know Dion Leonard today had a strip on, I can't remember.
Yeah, he punched it out. Yeah,
he punched it out.
Number
So
12, I think. I don't know if it's still Joe
that's Darius Davis.
There you go.
So he punched it out of him. Darius Davis obviously fell on top of it, but that's a good punch out. So
yeah, job security.
Exactly. So so there you go. I mean, that's just JC Jackson was a guy that obviously he's impressed Dan. I went with Quentin Johnston, but right now, I mean, obviously not a lot is going on. They're they're just in shorts.
The most important thing for now, like we talk about all the time, get out of camp healthy, because they're going to have a very tough 4-game stretch to start the year. And I think they're bye weeks early this year, if I remember correctly.
Week 5, I think.
That's going to be a huge challenge in and of itself. You have to start.
And then the Thursday night football game is at the end of the season. So, I mean, it's, there's a lot of pros and cons.
Fast, because I'm sure we'll get into it later, but just alone, I think the Broncos are going to be a lot better. The Chiefs are always tough. I think the Raiders are going to be the Raiders, but even those aren't guaranteed anymore. So it's going to be tough, dude. Those are 8 games of your schedule right there that are not guaranteed.
They haven't been guaranteed. They haven't been guaranteed since LT left the team.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's why you have to get started off fast. That way you're in rhythm and you're going and you're feeling yourself.
I completely agree.
And it's not going to be easy. So that's why you need everybody ready to go. Especially week 1, Miami, they got some weapons. There's an old familiar face over there out in Miami who wants to play you again, who loved playing against the Chargers when he was with the Chiefs. So that's going to be definitely interesting. And then you got Bradley Chubb. It's going to be a good matchup. You remember that Thursday night game, or was it Sunday night? It's going to be an interesting matchup.
Sunday night. I have video right here of, for the people not watching, it was 7-on-7 still. And Herbert hits Keenan Allen for a good back shoulder kind of thing over Asante Samuel Jr. Huh?
Yeah. I said on Asante, he was getting picked on a little bit out there today.
So it was a good play by Herbert. I know he found Mike Williams a couple of times too. So
nice little back shoulder. Yep.
Yeah, so definitely some good stuff from day one. So Dan and Daygo, obviously, for his own purposes, will not be going as much to training camp. He'll try and go as much as he can.
Yeah, I start my own camp
but I will be there. I'll inform you guys, and I'll inform Dan of everything going on. I don't know if we're going to do this every single day just because of Dan's crazy schedule and my crazy schedule. We'll try and do this as often as we can to give you guys recaps. Obviously, if something big happens, then we will jump on and we'll have an emergency pod.
Emergency press conference.
Yeah, just like Portnoy says. Yeah, exactly. But
and don't forget all the listeners, YouTube, or if you're hearing this on Spotify or whatever, don't be afraid to get into the YouTubes, okay, on this video. Comments, questions, concerns, put them in here or at Fernando. And you already know we read them out for you guys when we're on the pod and everything else. So any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to rate the comment section and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Speaking of that, with your video of Jamari Salyer, Kyle Boltbros put on the video, he put, "I love Jamari, biggest deal of last year's draft." And Lykud me thought, I don't know what that's what it says. It says Salyer's got this. So a lot of positive feedback for Jamari Salyer there.
I can't wait for the pads for that one. That's going to be the first day of pads. That one's going to be real good to watch.
Yeah,
as soon as the skill players do their 7-on-7, you got the big old mean and uglies in the trenches doing their one-on-ones. That is something I can't wait to see. Hopefully I'm there for the first day of pads.
And I know the way they do it too. They go all the way, like
Yeah.
you remember how they set up the two fields? They go all the way on the other field and they go all the way down where like the kind of the trees are,
Yeah.
so that nobody can really see. But
You're
I
talking
run
about the
over
7-on-7s or the one-on-ones?
Oh, today, by the way, when Herbert was signing autographs, I like took off like slowly jogging, and this guy, I kind of slowed down, and the guy just the security guard looks at me, and I go, "Oh hell, I'm not running. It's too hot." And he starts laughing, and then I'm like, "He'll still be signing autographs by the time you get there, sir." And I was like, "Yeah, no, that's right." So I
forgot to tell you, by the way, Frau, I have seen the light. I know what Kellen Moore wants to do from this first training camp. I saw it on 7-on-7, Frau.
Oh,
you know what's funny?
God.
When you were talking about the text, I thought it was a text that I was pissed. Why is Herbert rolling out to his left? He's right-handed, for God's sake.
No,
but yeah,
no, I thought it was it was the
the JC Jackson.
Yeah, no, definitely. But obviously, folks, we appreciate you guys so much for checking out yet another
shout out
episode of What's Up, Bolts. Obviously, like I said, Dan and Daygo and I will try and jump on here frequently. If there is breaking news or something big happens, we will jump on. But we'll try and do this every second or third day. Yeah, probably second or third. So if nothing big happens, probably expected either Saturday or Monday. But definitely, especially the pads I think come on Monday. So I think Monday would be the day that we will jump on and I'll give you guys an update of what's going on. Of course, we obviously appreciate you guys. I know, I think I saw the other day, there's somebody from like Australia that listens. There's somebody from like literally in Europe and Canada. So
shout out to you guys.
Appreciate you guys, all you guys that jump on and listen wherever you're listening. I know some people from Mexico listen, so we appreciate you guys. Everybody that listens wherever you're listening, we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your buddies, tell your other Charger friends, hey, there's a pretty cool podcast out here with two guys who just shoot the shit and have fun. So and shout out to Karen, by the way. Karen loves sports. We love Karen. Karen was making me laugh. She's like, I just love the way you and Dan just like literally like bullshit, or like you guys bullshit around and just talk and everything. I'm like, yeah, I mean, literally the way we are on this pod, minus expletives.
Yeah,
Dan and I
and some adjectives, Dan
and I are in real life. So it's literally just us coming on here and just shooting the bull and
talking about a team we've seen since we've been growing up out here in Southern California.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys are getting the real deal here. So you guys are getting the real deal here. So we appreciate you guys again so much for trusting us with your coverage and everything. And like I said, I will be at training camp, the whole training camp. So make sure you guys are following me at Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Threads at Real F Ramirez on all of them. And make sure you guys check out everything at the Sporting Tribune. I wrote a big piece on Justin Herbert getting signed, or how he's saying, you know what, it's time for football. I'm done with now we can put all this behind us. So thank you guys again so much.
Training camp, you guys say hi. Don't be afraid to wave at his ass out there.
Yeah. Oh, hey, no, my bad. Dan, thank you for reminding me. Folks, don't forget, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, one lucky listener will be having lunch with Dan and Daygo, alcohol not included.
I'm not that interesting, I swear.
He's very interesting. You guys will wanna participate in that. You guys don't forget, 1,000 subscribers. One lucky listener will be having lunch with Dan and Daygo. But again, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Have a great rest of your week and have an even better weekend. Be on the lookout. Make sure you hit the alert button so every time we release an episode, you guys are ready for it and you guys are listening. So thank you guys so much.
Season 2 is going to get wild.
I know. Thank you guys so much and have a great one.